Hey everyone, Mr. Zern here. Welcome back. Today, going to be talking about how to use a loop to generate our random number. All right, so here on the screen, I've got a label, all right, and this is going to display our random number. I have a text box, and in this text box, I am going to enter how many digits long I want that random number to be. 1 digit long, 2 digits long, 3 digits long, 4 digits long, etc. And then here, this button to kind of like, all right, I've entered the information in the text box, generate the random number. I've labeled these items over here, should hopefully make the coding a lot easier. And I've done a little bit of formatting just to kind of fill the space. Okay, so let's jump over to the blocks. All right, so let's just kind of talk this through. So when I click the button, however many digits long has been entered is going to help me generate that random number. So when button generate random has been clicked, I want you to do something. Well, first I need to basically store the information that is in this text box. I need to know what number that is. The program has to know. And for that, we're going to just make a local variable. You could probably do a global variable as well, but for now, the directions use a local variable in Project Lead the Way. So initialize local, and I'll say number digits. All right, so basically how many digits long. Now, where is it pulling that information from? Well, it's pulling it from this text box. All right, so I'll pull out the text box piece, and I'm just going to set that to text. All right, so when I click the button, however many digits long I put here will be stored as this local variable. Excellent. All right, next we're going to need a while loop to make this work. So we've been talking about loops a little bit, and there's different types, which we'll get into later, but this is a while loop. So basically, hey, while this thing is true, do this. All right, so not a problem. So I'm going to get a math block. Oh, and let's see here. I need this guy, and I'm going to grab this. And actually, I think we need to add a second. There we go. Yep. And initialize, we're going to call this count to 0. All right. So this is like we're creating a while loop here, and I'm going to kind of compare these two local variables to kind of make something happen. So while. So while what? So while, well, this will come over here, I guess. There we go. So while the number of digits is greater than the count, all right, and we'll see kind of how this all plays out here in a minute. So while the number of digits is greater than the count, I want you to do something. All right, so what is it going to do? Well, it is going to take this label. So here's my label, and I want to set that label. Let me change this to text. There we go. And I'm going to say, hey, all right, so while this do this thing, so take this label, and I'm going to have it do something, and I'm going to have it to, we need a little concatenation block here. There we go, join, and what are we going to join it to? Well, I want to join it to, and this is the weird part that I think makes this so difficult. I'm going to take that label again, and we'll talk our way through this in a moment, to, oops, under math, a random number. All right, let me just kind of pull this out for a second. All right, so while the number of digits, and let's pretend for a second I put in a 2 here, is greater than the count, and the count is set to 0. I want you to do something. So is 2 greater than 0? Yes. If so, do this thing. So set this label to the label, which at the moment is there's nothing there, to label plus, let me put the random integer in here and say 0 through 9. All right, so let's pretend for a moment I click the button and I put a 2 in here. And so it says 2 greater than 0? Yes. Then, so then run through here and say, okay, so label, join to label, which is blank, and a random integer. Let's pretend it's a 1 for a moment. All right, so that's going to like add a 1 digit here. I have to do a little more now. So now next we have to create this incremental counter. So I'm going to go in here and grab my set and pull out, I'm not sure why that's not showing up. We'll stick it right here. Now it shows up, count. All right, so set count to, well, now I'm going to make the incremental counter to count So we'll pull this out. There we go. To count plus 1. All right. So it runs through here and say, hey, is 2 greater than 0? Yes. So take this and add it to this, and so that's blank, so there's nothing yet. And it picks a random number. Let's pretend 1. And so now that's 1. And then it comes down here and it adds 0. So 0 plus 1 is now 1. So it's 1 greater than, while the number of digits is greater than count, so we've got 2 is greater than 1, then do this thing. All right, so we had added, this has been 1, so take 1 and join 1 with whatever we pull out here, and let's say it's a 3. And so now that label is holding 13, and it adds another one, so 1 plus 1 is 2. Is 2 greater than 2? No, it's not. And so the loop stops. Now we need to print this information somewhere, and I think it should kind of automatically happen. And let me test it on my tablet here, but if not, we'll add a little print statement. So on mine, I'm going to enter 3. Can't see this. I'm just kind of doing this off camera. And yep, I get 773. Now let me do it again. And again, you can't see. I'm going to hit. I'm going to add for a 4-digit number, and the label just keeps getting longer and longer because now it's 7737047, and I'm going to say, hey, add generate a 2-digit random number, and I hit the button, and it keeps tacking on those numbers. So what we need to do here is every time I run this random number generator, I kind of need it to wipe the label clean. So I'm going to just copy paste that for a moment and just bust that off and stick that there and grab an empty block. There we go. We'll delete those guys out. So what that'll do is every time I click the button, it'll basically wipe this label back to being blank so that it can run through without any fuss. It is looking pretty good on my tablet, except it still has kind of the generic text there in addition to the random number, which is a little odd. So I'm just going to tell it to set the random number label. I think this will just give me a nice clean text to what? Well, just stick that all together. All right, so let me try that again. I'm going to tell it to generate a 5-digit random number. So I've typed in a 5, generate, and yep, I just get 36557. I'm going to try that again, and this time I'm going to say, hey, generate a 3-digit random number, and I get 968. The only other thing I want to add is every time I go to generate that random number, I have to delete what's in the text box. So I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to take this text box, and I'm going to grab the set and change it to text. There we go. And just stick that down there and paste. There we go. And now when I hit the generate number, yep, it's blanking the text box. So I don't have to delete out what I entered there. And so let's see here. I just entered, let's say I'll enter a 7-digit. So I want a 7-digit random number, and it says 9578358. All right. And so this gives you an idea of how that random number generator would work. There's other ways to do it. There's definitely another way, at least one that I've seen. There's probably more for sure. That's definitely a little bit easier. It's going to be more buttons and stuff, but it might be easier than trying to do a loop. But it's nice to know how to do a loop because those are things that we'll be doing in the future. All right, guys. I look forward to playing your guessing game, and I will, as always, talk to you later.